Okay, here's the model we were working with. It's a little later. The bend handle's there. I just put it in the group so we have it. We've got the um, ability to extend and flex. And again, go back to the bend deformer and set it to 0. And actually, in this case, whoops, that's the letter 0, the letter O rather. Right now, I have one keyframe set right there around 74. And that just sets it at 0. Now here's my problem. I don't know if you can hear this when I record, but when I play this, okay, so this part right here that talks about the first section, what we're talking about is this is the introduction. So this first section here is it's introducing all the pieces, all the parts, all the components of the vertebra. And then this is talking about there's going to be a second lesson that's going to demonstrate extension and flexion of the lumbar vertebra. So I'm going to change the starting time to 70 because I'm not going to do anything in this particular animation dealing with that first part. I just want to focus on the flexion and extension. Now my problem though is I go through all of this to about up here, right here, right around 180, I'm starting to hear about extension and flexion. So I've got from 70 to 180, about 110 frames, really just talking, but I need to do something. So there's lots of ways you can do this. What I decided to do is looking at, this is the format we've been using all along, so I want to keep that consistent, that 960 by 540. But what I thought I could do, if you see how far away I am, what I can do is actually zoom in with the camera and bring the camera closer to kind of focus a little more on the lumbar so that by the time we get to 180, we're pretty close and we can see the extension and flexion. Now, generally the best way I know to animate a camera is to create a new camera. Don't use one of the existing ones, but go under camera, and I'm just going to say camera. So now I have a camera. I'm going to name it my camera so I don't get confused. Okay, and right now I'll go under this panel and I'll say look through selected. So I'm looking there, there's my camera, like everything else, created at 000. And I'm in the back. So what I want to do is pretty much match the angle that I have from the perspective. And there's my camera under there. What I'm going to do though first is I'm going to go just to double check. I've always find the top view. See if I come back here I can. Okay, so that's where my camera is focusing. If I come back you can see that's physically where the camera is. So that's a pretty good deal. Now over here, this is the perspective camera. So the perspective camera is showing me what my camera looks like. And if I go here, now you can see. So see, I'm actually kind of on the wrong side of that. I want to be this way. Okay. And let's go back out. I'm not really sure why it shows you this that little gray thing there, but it does. So let's put up our limits so we know where we are. Let's go exclusively to just this camera now. Wait a little bit. All right, so I'm going to go to frame 70. I've got the camera. I can always say select camera to make sure I have it. And I'm only going to animate these 6 features. So I'm going to say key selected. Now I can't, let me undo that for a second. What I can't do, unfortunately, is freeze transformations for camera. I can freeze the rotation, but it won't set these all to 0 for me. So I'm going to have to basically just set a keyframe for these values. Okay, and then as I get it to 180, so right about in here is where I want the camera to click closer. So what I'll do is I'll use the same camera commands I would use. Get closer, come up a little bit. Now camera changes, animating the camera move is very disruptive. I mean, you really, if you do this with too little time, you can make people seasick. So as though this is pretty slow, it can be quite, it really needs that much time. And now that I'm here at 170, I can go get my bend deformer, my bend handle, and get the curvature and say key selected. So that bend handle is stayed, and then as it goes to extension right here, I can play it so you can hear it. Extension right there, right about there. I'm going to start it just a little bit early. We got the bend handle selected, hit T, and I'll move. So I want to extend. Not sure how much I want to extend it. I want to make it look like it's breaking their back. Okay, and we'll set a key there. So we go from here to here. So flexion. So flexion's right about 195. So I'm going to go the opposite way. And I don't have my auto selected there. And in between, about there. I'm going to set the curvature to 0. Okay, so that I go through those things. So let's see what this sounds like here. Oop. Go back and see if I messed up here. Okay, as you can see, it goes really pretty quick. So, and it stays there. This is the end of the sound right about here. I'm going to change it back to 0 there. Okay, and what I'd like to do is maybe have it, let's just listen one more time. So maybe what I'd like to do, if I could, is see if I could get the hold a little bit longer. So let's go with the bend handle selected. Let's go to the graph editor. And let's make this a little bigger so we can see it. See, if I extend this out, see, it's moving both those directions. So I'm going to undo that then for a second. So what I did in this little lesson here, right, went under tangents, I clamped. Now what clamp should do is move that out. It's moving both anyway. Okay, I thought clamp would keep it, but it's not. So I'm going to just basically slow down that change from 0 to the extension, and then again from 0 to the flexion. And I maybe make that a little bit longer this way. Okay, and maybe slow it down up here a little bit. All right, so this is giving me a nice straight line, so it sits still. And then it's going to do those changes. I could even, whoa, can't do that. Yeah, see, I really am about the limit there. If I try to do too much, it's going to change it. All right, let's see what that does. So you notice if you compare that to the original, it holds it just a little bit longer so that you don't have quite such a quick change. Okay, that's a little bit better pacing. So that's what we'll use then for our final animation.